If only I had spidey senses, so I can tell when something's wrong. Oh, and I'm in search to protect this heart from breaking into pieces. Where's my hammer? Where's the shield? All the strength to carry the weight of the world. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of Snap Decisions. This is your Snap DJ, your host with the most, and I am late. Yeah, usually this is out every single Tuesday, but due to some work things and schedule changes and all that kind of stuff, I had to delay it a bit, so apologies for that. But we have a good show for you today, although shouldn't be as long as they normally are because the cards that we got this week, our card is kind of not the greatest card that we're going to get this month. So we have all the regular stuff for you. Of course, going to have the DJ spin to start off the show. We're going to talk about the new shop that came out. So New Verse is gone and Second Dinner Now is running the show, so to speak. So that's good news. So we'll look at that. We'll take an in-depth look at that in the spin. And also going to talk a little bit about the amount of new cards we're getting, because that seems to be a thing, controversial kind of a topic. I know Cozy and Alex talked about it on their show, and a lot of other people are talking about it as well. So we will dive into that, whether or not what my thoughts are on it. And they may be different from what a lot of people are saying. We got the listener calling me with 2 questions this week, so thank you to those who have sent those. And again, please make sure that you are doing that every week. I would appreciate that. Send along those questions to my Discord, to Twitter, DMs, and also the other Discords I'm on. I have my own, of course, and I'm on the Snap Judgments one as well, and I'm also on Blue Sky, so send those questions out. We've got What's in the Shop as well, and we'll talk about what is in the shop today, including the bundles, the variants I've gotten over the course of the week. We'll take a look at my week in Snap and where I am. I'm actually ahead of the game for once. I had a big 8-cube win last night while I was playing over a player that got me over into past, actually, where I finished last month. So that's pretty good. And we will talk about, we've got new game modes coming up and stuff like that too. And then we've got Comics Corner. We'll talk about the Ancient One and how surprising a little bit surprising with the Ancient One card. And I'll tell you why I was surprised by it. And we'll also talk to Jennifer Kale. I told you that we were going to do Jennifer Kale. So Ancient One and Jennifer Kale in comics this week. We have to do multiples because we did get the extra cards. And then, of course, the MCU Minute. And I was surprised this week by my first ever early film screening. So I'm going to be going to see a film for the first time earlier than everybody else gets to see it, which is kind of cool. So we'll talk about that and more to end the show in the MCU Minute. All right, so let's get started, shall we? We will... First thing we're going to go into is we're going to talk about, first off, I'm a part of the Snap Judgments Network. And speaking of which, I will be on Glazer's Pod. So I will be on Snap Judgments this week. So that's always cool. It's always a great time. I love being on the pod. So I will be on Glazer's Pod. And that records... and then, of course, he puts it out on his YouTube channel, so make sure to check that out. I'm sure that will be a fun time. And again, trying to have guests again on the show. Like I said last week, every Monday I will have guests on Monday. They are the guys who've been patiently waiting from the How Can She Snap Alliance. And they will join me on Monday, hopefully, if everything goes the way it should. All right. So, again, like I said, I'm part of the Snap Judgments Network, where we have a awesome group of podcasts. Of course, starting with Snap Judgments himself, Glazer puts out a pod every single week. He's been doing that for a long, long time with Roy. And also he has guests on there from the community. High-level players and stuff like that, so make sure you check that out. That's usually out Thursdays. I think it streams Thursdays on his stream, and then Fridays when he puts it out for you to be able to check out on either YouTube or listen to it on audio. Then, of course, we have Kier Nimbus. Kier is an awesome dude. He's been on my show a lot. If you want to listen to a shorter podcast where you can listen to it, 15, 20 minutes most of the time. He does a great job in going over the news of the week, the cards and stuff like that in a very short amount of time. Very easy to listen to. So check that out. That is the Infinaut podcast. And then, of course, we have Snap on This with Ben Roller and, of course, your host, Lauren Whatevs. They do that podcast every single Friday and always have the cool stuff going on there. The secret homework that they do is a lot of fun, where they just have things from other aspects of gaming sometimes, and sometimes it's Marvel stuff that they talk about and things like that. So always a fun show. Make sure you check that out. That's out every single Friday for your listening and Marvel Snap podcast pleasure. All right, so we're going to get into it, shall we? We're going to go right into the DJ spin. And first, I want to talk about Golden Gauntlet 2, the tournament. I did manage to, because I was off this Sunday, so I managed to, I couldn't play because I had to work on Saturday, but I managed to watch a lot of the broadcast during the course of the day, so it's kind of cool. And, of course, we did get a winner, and the winner was Auroram Plays, Auroram, Roram. And obviously, congrats to him. He is going to be on my show as well, so I'm going to get to talk on the pod to the winner of Golden Gauntlet 2, which is exciting. And he streams the game, I believe. I was watching Binks the other night, and I think he did a raid of Binks' stream. So I will, so that'll be fun. I'll be chatting with the tournament winner. Of course, he's busy doing the streams and stuff like that. So whenever I can get a chance to get him on the pod, we'll chat about it. And a lot of really good games, good matches, cool plays, especially in the final. There was this nuts play that he made. Now, he was playing 34-card Monty, which is crazy to me. The fact that deck won a big tournament is absolutely nuts. But I can tell you why I think the deck. Now, this is the list. Surge, Valentina, Juggernaut, Shang-Chi, Galacta, Enchantress, Legion, Agamotto, Alioth, Mockingbird, Thanos, and Arishem. I think that the reason that these lists do well sometimes is, I think, just the sheer factor of surprise. Now, he's got good cards in here. Obviously, Surge, Juggernaut is just a great card. Galacta is a great card. Enchantress into the meta is a great card. Legion, you know the power of that card. It can just mess up everything for you with the, lock you out and stuff like that. So Agamotto obviously has some great spells that can get you more energy, that can hit an opponent's card for -5. Alioth is really good into the meta. Of course, Mockingbird, Thanos, and Arishem, and then you're getting the stones. You're getting the cards, the random cards. I think too is a big thing with this. because your opponent just doesn't know what you've got. And he won a game in the finals on a random discard of a random Wolverine. He has no discard cards in his hand. Now, I don't quite remember. He may have pulled one with Valentina, or he just got random, but he discarded a Wolverine out of his hand. The Wolverine popped in on the very last turn of the game, and that's how he won the game, which was insane. I mean, his opponent even started giving him the thumbs up for it, because I can understand why. It's just very frustrating. But this deck is now a thing, and it's around. I have the list. I've played the list on ladder a little bit, and again, RSM is, I think, a favorite of people, and especially in a big tournament like this. You'd think that you would be a little bit nervous to take an RSM list into a tournament like this, especially when people are playing Lockout Cannonball most of the time. But yeah, this is why I think that this deck is good, is for just the randomness. You don't know, you have so much random stuff going on. With the stones you could build around and get everything from them. Valentina is giving you a random card, and then just the RSM random cards. And I think, I think that was, a big part of the reason why the deck won. But of course, the player too. You have to know how to play this, and take advantage of everything that you're getting as far as the randomness is concerned. So yeah, again, congrats to Roram, and hopefully I will be having him on the channel soon. It was fun to watch, though. It really was fun to watch. There was some decks. There was a Surtur deck that was I think in the final four, which was pretty cool. Although, when they matched up with the player who ended up playing Roram in the final, they just couldn't do anything, because he had a Shang-Chi, and that list is extremely susceptible to Shang-Chi unless you're playing armor, and most people don't play armor in that list anymore, because now you have Surge in there. So that's they just, there was no matchup, and of course the other player was, I think he was playing a Thanos list too, but the other player always ended up getting Shang-Chi, and it just devastated that one lane, and then you have a very easy, you're going to win that one lane for sure. And then, it's just pick one out of two to win the other lane, and you're going to win. So, was surprising to see the Surtur list go that far, but and it is pretty consistent. I've still been playing it a little bit, it's going to even get better when Nightmare comes out. That's really going to make that list very popular. So anyway, so yeah, it was fun. I saw Bing's casting, and then of course the last, like the top 8, I think it was It's Guest Gaming and KM Best who were casting. So it's pretty cool. I'd imagine that they will keep doing that into the future, which is cool. All right. Second up today, we are going to do we'll keep going on the spin a little bit, and we'll talk about what a lot of people seem to be discussing, and it's the amount of new cards we're getting. So here's my quick thoughts on it. I think I may have mentioned this on a pod before. I think that having more new cards is a good thing. I really do. Now, you're going to get some stinkers. You're going to get some that aren't that great. And a lot of people are saying Jennifer Kale, who cares? She's giving you one extra energy. But I tell you, I've seen people playing with her. Safety Blade. Great player, makes great decks. He has her in a lot of his decks, and I see the reasoning behind it. He made a pretty cool Galactus deck that I was playing with a little bit, and of course, I see a Galactus deck, I'm always going to try it, and it was pretty good. And Jennifer Kale was part of it, and so was the combo with Cannonball was in there as well. And he also had. Oh man, now I forget the name of the new card. I'll get to it in a bit, but the one where you can technically move all of your cards out of a lane to his lane, and And it's just a very good way to surprise somebody with Galactus, because you can move everything out of there. And then all of a sudden, if they're kind of stuck a little bit with, with not much in a lane, you can surprise them with Galactus by having priority. And Jennifer Kale allows you to just play him on turn 5. So it's a pretty fun deck. And, but there are some people that said Jennifer Kale's is, skippable. It's not a good card. And I'm not saying it's a great card, but it kind of has some uses. And what it does, and this is what I like about the new cards, this is what I like about getting more cards, is it allows people to make decks like that, right? Like, it allows people to play different types of decks. And now especially, Jennifer is going to be a sneaky card now, because a lot of people have said, don't get it. It's not worth it, and I wouldn't probably spend tokens for it. I got it out of the pack. But now you're going to see people that'll have it and people who won't. And I think that's a good thing for the game overall. That's one of the things that kept Magic the Gathering fresh, is the fact that you could never, unless you were an avid collector, and all my years of playing Magic, I tried to be an avid collector. I would get boxes of the cards when they would come out. But even if you did, you didn't get a whole set. You'd buy a box of cards, but you weren't getting a whole set. You're going to get a lot of the commons, or probably most of them, and you're probably going to get most of the uncommons, but it was the rares that you wouldn't get. And now a lot of the times during my Magic days, I would spend trading and trying to trade people to get the rares that I needed for my collection. But it got to the point where I would just try to get the rares that were for the specific color of Magic that I liked, which was black. So I would just try to collect all the rares from the black set, because it was too hard. You'd have to buy more than one box of cards. You'd probably have to buy, one, maybe 2 boxes. And even then, some of the rares, and now, Magic has like super rares that are even rarer than rare. And it's just hard to get. So I think I think for deck building, I think it's a good thing, because you're going to see different decks. You're going to see different cards. You're going to see people using, people that have gotten Jennifer Kale. You're going to see them using that, and and some others. So I think it's going to be good for the variety overall in the game. And the fact that, again, Roram won with that 34 card Monty deck, which wasn't necessarily a meta staple. I think it's cool. I think it's a good thing for the game overall. I just think many times when I'm playing Snap, I'm seeing the same decks, and that's what we got into with Thanos. It was just Thanos, time after time after time. You knew what you were going to see, and it makes it boring. It makes for very stale meta. And sure, a lot of people are going to copy the deck because they know it wins. Same thing with when a content creator, like one of the bigger creators, puts out a good deck, right? Like Cam Best put out the one with the cannonball thing that happens. He put that out. He got to number 1 on the ladder with it. Well, then of course, what did you see? Everybody copied it. Which is, people are going to net deck. That's just what they're going to do. They're going to net deck. And in a smaller game with a smaller amount of cards, you really can't help but net deck, because you don't have as much to cook with. You don't have as many cards that you can use that people just aren't going to necessarily expect. And I think, a part of this game, which could maybe even solve the stale ladder problem, is if people started to vary up their decks a little bit, because then you have the element of surprise. You have the element of something that people didn't see or aren't going to see, and that's going to help you just win games. I think with the game that I won last night, that I told you earlier that I got 8 cubes on, that took me over where I was last month, I think it was because I had a couple surprises in that deck where they just weren't expecting, and I ended up, they thought they had the game won, and I won because of that. So I think that's a great thing for the game overall. And I think coming out with the extra cards, especially when they're going to be Series 4 cards, and they may not be great for everybody, but I would bet you that some people and some deck builders are going to think of ways to use it. And so I think it's a good thing. I don't see that as being a bad thing. Now, people who aren't collection complete, you're going to have to make choices. But what I would say to that is make choices to your play style, whatever it is or however it is you play the game. Make a choice to get the cards that fit you, that fit your play style. Don't necessarily worry about net decking. Don't necessarily worry about what people are playing. Make choices that fit your play style. That's what I always did. That's why I collected black cards in Magic, because that was my play style. I like to play discard. And black had a lot of great discard cards. And usually every single set that Magic would come out with, they would come out with a black discard card. Black also would have big creatures. Now, sometimes those creatures would be a detriment to you. They would do something to you. One of my favorite creatures in Magic was it's called a Juzon de Jin. And it was a 5/5, which was hefty for back then. You only have 20 life. So if it hits you 3 times, you're down 15. But it was very quick to cast. It only cost 4. So for a 5/5 creature, that's crazy. But it did have a drawback. You would lose a life for playing this creature every single turn. So you're going down in life every single turn because of being good, it's biting you back. So in essence, that's black cards did that. They were good, but they would have a detriment to you. And so, so that's what, like I said, but I think it's a good thing. The fact that we're getting 2 modes this month. We're going to get high voltage, which is going to give us more cards. And then, we're going to get another new game mode. So I think it's cool. I don't get the hate behind it. I think it's a good thing personally, in the game overall. I really do. I just think that I think it's a good thing that we're getting more cards. I think good for the game overall. So, all right. And, that said, let us go to now the other big news event was that New Verse is gone and Second Dinner has now taken over the shop. So that is a good thing. Again, some people have voiced concerns. One of the big ones was the Galactus spin is gone. But they're giving you 200 credits just for going in there every single day. So look, I mean, the Galactus spin dwindled, and it was good when it first started back up again. But of late, I've been getting a lot of just 50 credit spins. It seems like I'll stop on a border and then I'll get 50. I'll stop on a border and then I'll get 50. So I think it's a good thing that they're changing it. They're going to be able to do some different things with it. And so I think it's all good. And the fact that it now is going to fall under them completely, I think that's a good thing too. Because when you have an outside company, you get outside interest and things like that from the company, and it's not always, it doesn't always jive with what the creator wants. So I think the fact that they're now able to, or they're now doing that and they're doing all this stuff themselves, I think that's a good thing too. Because it just for business purposes, I think it just makes it better. But what we're going to do is we're going to go in, we're going to read this over. Now, if you haven't gone into this yet, you will need to update your game. A lot of people are asking, why am I not getting, why am I not able to log in, blah, blah, blah. You have to, and I didn't know either. I couldn't understand why I wasn't able to log in either, but you are going to have to update your shop first, update your game if you haven't done so already. So make sure that you do that. If you haven't, I don't know why people don't update their games. I always look for updates, for my apps. I just do it normally. So just make sure you go and update the game first. And then log in, and you'll see Masters of the Arcane web milestone. That is all the stuff, and you could see that they did change it up a bit. It's got level bonuses and stuff like that, just like they did before. And the card that's in there is anti-venom. But they have a lot of bigger offers in here actually. There's a premium mystery variant. There's 5,000 tokens. 1,200 gold, and there's the anti-venom. And if you get above the anti-venom, so this is for the whales, 20,000 credits gets you 3,000 tokens. The highest reward is 6,000 tokens, so a lot of tokens. There's bundles in here that you won't necessarily see in game, that are extra. Then there's the web shop celebration, a celebration exclusive, that you can pick up. So a lot of them are the same, that are in game, but there are some that aren't. And there are web exclusives. Like right now, there's a Wong exclusive that gets you the Wong variant, the rock and roll one, Wong boosters and 1,000 tokens, and then you get your free reward every single day as well. So I think this is good. I think it's a good thing for the game that they did it. And they did mention that they were fans of the Galactus spin. So I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a comeback, especially maybe they'll wait until the Heralds of Galactus season that's coming up. Maybe they'll wait to do the Galactus spin at that point. But I know that they know that everyone enjoyed it. So maybe that will make a comeback, and they'll change that. They'll change the spin, but I don't know. I kind of like the 200 credits. So we shall see. All right. So the patch notes, pretty much were just about the new client. So what it says quickly is, today marks a major milestone for Marvel Snap and the entire team at Second Dinner. For the very first time, we're releasing a patch fully under our own roof. It's built, published, and launched on a platform we now own and operate. This is more than just a technical update. It's a defining moment in our studio's journey into self-publishing and a bold leap forward for Marvel Snap. If everything looks familiar when you log in, that's by design. Like a duck gliding across a calm pond. Things may seem unchanged on the surface, but behind the scenes, we're paddling hard. The patch is packed with important updates that lay the groundwork for even more flexibility, creativity, and responsiveness moving forward. So a new client aren't any new player-facing features you'll notice, as this is mainly for back-end updates. However, in order to quickly ramp up to the new systems, we'll be requiring all players to update their build, so just make sure to update the game. Web shop, this is the biggest new feature you'll see alongside the new client. We're releasing an all-new web shop where you'll be able to purchase season passes, gold passes, exclusive bundles. See, that's where I would tell you, go there to do it. When you get the season pass and stuff like that, go there to get it, because you'll get the rewards from the shop if you do. Offering some fantastic deals and rewards. First step into what will be much to come for this all-new web shop. We plan to continue to make any improvements as it evolves. So that's, the web launch. Now, if you haven't gone in yet, or if you haven't updated your game yet, there is a free bundle, and you get a premium mystery variant. Out of that, I got the Alex Ross Ultron, which was cool. And you just type in the code WEBLAUNCH, WEBLAUNCH, in caps, and you get a free mystery variant and a mystery border. And you just have to log in with your Apple Google account. It's valid for 28 days, so you have time. Head to the shop every day to claim 200 credits during launch month. Starting 28 days after launch, the daily claim will change to 100. So it's going from, it's only 200 temporarily changed to 100 then. We know the Galactus spin was a favorite feature in the old web shop, and we're actively working on building something similar for the new shop. So that's cool. And then they just go into launch bundles. There's a $4.99 launch bundle, 1,500 gold, which is a great value for that. One mystery border, and that's valid for 28 days. And then they just fix some known issues. Players will need to update. Like I said, you got to update your game. If you have a guest account and are having login issues, reach out to customer support for assistance. Your account is safe and isn't going anywhere. Snap will no longer be available on the Samsung store starting on June 12th. So you can't get it from Samsung store anymore. You have to get it from Google Play. It says currently using Samsung store. Going forward, use Google Play Store. And then player names will not be displayed correctly on the leaderboard until after you played your first game on the new client. So that's it. That's the patch. Very quick and simple, just talking about the new web store and all that stuff. So, all right. So that is the end of the spin for today. And we are going to go into the listener, the DJ call-in. So we do have two questions. And And the first one is from Ahmed, Ahmed Magdi, Magdy. It's at _ sting, ST1NG _ on X. My question for you is, what new card archetype or keyword do you think Snap needs now? Wow. Wow. I mean, that's a tough one, man. Because obviously we have ongoing, we have on reveal, we have discard. I'm trying to think. I mean, we even have like equivalent of what we used to call white weenie in Magic, which was just a bunch of little cards. We even have that really in this game. They call it in Snap called Zoo. Obviously, we have Arshem. We have negative. We have man. That's a good question. I'm trying to think if there's any other. I mean, we have tech decks now, which are just countering everything. So that's kind of equivalent to Magic's counterspell decks. Oh, man. Well, you know what I would say, and going back to my Magic days, right? And this is kind of starting maybe a little bit with the Cannonball combo. Decks that counter ways that your opponent's cards can damage you. So, in other words, like that new card counters move, right? Like you can't move cards. Maybe have something like a card that stops your opponent's cards from. Oh man. I don't even know though how you would do that, because in Magic you had an attack phase, right, where the cards themselves would do points damage to you, and that would be kind of akin to a stopping their like on reveals or something like that. Man, I don't know. This is a very good question, man. I literally think that they have it covered a lot. I would say. Maybe Activate, and we're going to see that this month or next month with Fantastic Four, right? Like they're going to have a lot of Activate abilities. I think Activate needs love because it's not very good now. There's not a lot of people playing Activate abilities. You see some with Scarlet Spider and Symbiote Spider-Man, but it's not extremely popular. So maybe go in and tweak Activate a little bit, but I think we're going to see a lot more of Activate in Fantastic Four because they all synergize with that. The team synergy thing is kind of a cool thing, I think, too. Have maybe, and I'm sure down the road, when they do the third film in the Spider-Verse series, maybe that would be a good one where you could get some synergy with cards like Spider-Man synergy with Spider-Man, with Miles, with all of the synergistic Spider-Man cards. So maybe something like that. Maybe like team synergy, or when you get all Fantastic Four members out, they've got like a team synergy. Or if you get a bunch of Spider-Man cards out, they have that. We saw a little bit of that in those mini games that they were playing. When you played a bunch of Avengers together, or you played a bunch of X-Men together and stuff like that, it would do something. I think that would be cool if they brought that permanently to the game. Because that's, again, that's what Magic did a lot. Like if you played certain types of creatures, like elves, little creatures that could just, the more you played, the better they got, because they would get bigger. I think that'd be another cool thing to bring to the game, but I'm sure that they'll come out with more archetypes and stuff as we go. I think archetypes are just tough because when Snap has the low amount of cards that it has, and again, this leads back to my earlier comment about having more cards is good. Getting more cards into the game will allow you for more archetypes. And I think that's it. But thank you for the question, Ahmed. I really appreciate it. Yeah, great question. I love it. So, all right. My second one this is from Blue Sky, and it is Antnees, Knees. He wants to know, has Thanos been meaningfully nerfed enough given the rise of the 34 card Monty? Great question, man. Look, even without the 34 card Monty deck, it is still a very, very good deck. In fact, I'm going to get into this when I go into the what's in the shop, but I'm currently playing an ongoing Thanos list, and it's very good. There is the Doctor Strange one is still out there. I know Nick the Greek Geek is playing that with success. He changed a card in his list, but again, still very good. That deck is a tech card deck. So, while it has the normal Thanos stuff in, it also has a lot of tech. And so I think that is, do I think it's been nerfed enough? I don't think so. I mean, they did make some changes to stones and stuff like that, and to draw a card from the stone that they got rid of. But I don't know. I still see it a lot. I still see a lot of people playing it. So according to that, and obviously the 34 card Monty is just crazy that deck even works as well as it does, and you're getting the cards. I don't know, man. I think that I think it's still good. I think it's still a top deck in the meta. So to answer your question, was it nerfed enough? I mean, I guess the answer to that's going to be what you consider to be nerfed enough, and what you think is nerfed enough that do you want it completely taken out of the meta? Do you want it not to exist in the meta the way it is? So that it's going to have a different meaning for everyone. But did the current nerf do enough? I mean, the only way you could really see, for second dinners purposes, is to go into, Snap Zone or wherever it is you go in and look to see what decks are the top decks. Alex does top decks of the week. So does KM Best. So you can watch their videos as well. They usually come out Saturdays and Sundays. And they'll tell you according to the numbers. Now KM does his according to the top, 100 players, the top players on ladder. And Alex does his according to the top decks by number. But you'll see, if those decks are still in their top like 3, then probably not. They probably didn't do enough to nerf it. And, the only way we're going to know is on the next OTA, they're going to have to hit it again. So we'll see. But according to what I'm seeing anyway, and what I'm seeing being played, I don't think the nerf they did really hurt it that much. And I had mentioned that. I had said that. I don't think it will. Now when Glazer's on the show, he kind of said that the stone will hurt it. And which maybe it does for card draw. But again, when you see somebody playing 34 card Monty, they're not going to care about card draw. They're going to get enough cards between the draw just from the random cards they're getting and stuff like that. So they're not going to care. Plus, Agamotto's in that deck, so you're going to have plenty of cards to draw and stuff like that. The question is are you going to get the proper cards that you want in the deck? But again, if you're playing a 34 card deck, you're not going to really be deep diving for a card. So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I personally don't think so. I don't think the nerf did a lot to the Thanos list. I think people are still playing it. Now, you're obviously going to see changes in the meta because of the new cards that people are just trying to experiment with. And, maybe the cannonball combo took the place of Thanos a little bit when everybody was playing that, but they always seem to go back to it. And like I said, I am having success with it. So, and the ongoing list is still prevalent. I know Binks on his birthday stream was playing the ongoing list, the Thanos ongoing list. Or I think the night before, the birthday stream, I think he was playing his bounce list that he has. But the night before, he was playing the Thanos ongoing. And now, especially with this goofy, oh, God, do I hate hot locations. Oh, man. If there's anything I just cannot stand in this game right now, it's hot locations. I think they are the worst. This new one now changes all your cards to a value of 5. Oh, God. Like, try playing a Surtur deck. Forget it. Your cards are all going to change to 5. And so that's why I went to the Thanos list thinking, all right, well, if that stupid King Arthur's list comes up or the location comes up, then all my stones are going to change to 5. So who cares? They're all low anyway. And I'm going to have 4 of them on there to make sure that I get the max out of that lane. But, what a stupid hot locations are just dumb. I just really don't like them. And I don't like the fact that they make you play them for 48 hours or whatever that is. I don't like that at all. Fine, make the new locations and everything, stick them in and stuff like that. But, don't make it be where you have to situate decks and everything like that. Because you're taking, it's 24 hours, right, or more. It might be 32. I can't remember that. But you're taking technically a day away from players. That it's going to just screw up their entire deck, and they're going to have to play a completely different deck for that day. So you're taking that away from players. I don't find it fun personally. I don't know if you guys do, but I don't find it fun. A lot of these new locations are just lousy, and it's so yeah. But anyway, all right. So thanks for the question, Aunt Nees. I appreciate it. Thank you both for sending those in. And please make sure to keep the questions coming. Again, Blue Sky, hit me up Twitter. And of course in my Discord as well. So I did get that comment in my Discord. So thank you for that. All right. We are going to move on to the card I was mentioning before that's creating that created the Galactus combo was Hellion, who's a 5/8 on reveal. Next turn, you can move cards to this location. So basically, you can move all your cards out of there and just play the Galactus. And of course, the combo is with Mercury Cannonball. Mercury is the 2/2. You can move this once. Enemy cards here cannot move. So she's an anti-move card. And then, of course, this week's card, we'll talk about that now. We'll just give the stats, is the Ancient One. The Ancient One is a 3/0 on reveal. Copy the text of one of your ongoing cards here onto your other characters here. And of course, she has that card that is the Tau Mandala that goes out. So that's the card of this week. Now, my thoughts on the card is it's not, if you're going to skip a card, I would tell you to skip this one. I don't think she's very good. Binks was using her in the Thanos deck list. I don't think she was necessary in there. She comes up with some cool combos, I guess, if you want to copy like an Iron Man or something with her, or, things like that. I had thought that she'd be kind of broken in the ongoing Thanos list, but again, I saw Binks using it in that list and it definitely wasn't broken. So I think of the cards that we're getting this month, her and Clea are probably maybe the skippable ones that we're getting. Nightmare is next, I think, and I would definitely get that one. That's going to be one of the best. And of course, Dormammu looks like it's just going to be a lot of fun. So Ancient One, I think a lot of people will say, is the skippable card of the month thus far. I think that's the one that you could skip. So, okay, we're going to revert over to what's in the shop. Then we're going to hit up Comics Corner. We're going to talk about the Ancient One. And we're going to talk about Jennifer Kale as well. So we'll spend a little bit of time on each one, and then we'll take a look at the comic store and the origins of those to see where you can find comics that you can read about both of those characters. So we'll get into that, and then of course we'll finish up the show with MCU Minutes. So I'm using my very slow iPad. I'm glad that I heard Lauren Whatevs talk on Snap on this about how this game works very badly on some of her devices. Well, I concur. It works very bad on my iPad. Very, very bad. And my iPad's not that old. So it's like 2-3 years. So it's not like it's a 5th gen or 4th gen, like really old iPad. But it crashes constantly on the game. So, all right. Let's take a look first at, of course, in the shop itself, we have a, let me see. We have the Vibranium offers, which are always there. Collector's Bundle, $24.99, 3,000 collector tokens, 155 boosters. Spellborn Air, which is Wiccan. That's a $50 one. 5,000 gold, Blue Cosmic Border, 2,000 credits. pretty cool Wiccan variant, but I don't think. I mean, 5,000 gold, 2,000. Hey, it's not bad if you can afford that. Then we have a Celine one. This one, first of all, Celine's never played. 3,500 credits is pretty good. You get a black matte border with it. 20 is the price. Again, I don't like bundles with cards that don't get played. Copycat one is in here. That's the $100 one. 6,000 gold. Cosmic border, 6,000 tokens. Premium Mystery Pack is in there. And then the cards yesterday, Vision, the comic book Vision came out. You know, I always love those. It's another What If comic book cover. I'm starting to wonder with these if the What If ones are the only ones they can licensely print now. They were doing some other ones, and they were doing some, but I noticed that all the upcoming ones are What If covers. So I'm wondering if Marvel Comics and Disney Marvel, I think, are two different entities. And I'm wondering if Marvel Comics might have been like, you're not going to be able to use all of the art. And I wonder if it's just maybe more difficult to use the comics art because of the licensing. Because a lot of the older comics, like the ones that were using, like the Golden Age ones from the 70s and 80s, might have licensing issues because some of the creators and stuff like that, it's kind of in limbo. Some of them are not owned by Marvel. Some of them are owned by creators' estates. And I wonder if that's a little difficult, like the Man-Thing comic that we got and stuff like that. I wonder if that's just starting to become more difficult, and maybe the What If comics, because of the licensing on them, are just easier for them to get. But I did notice that all the upcoming comic cards now are What Ifs. But I did pick it up. I always get the comic book one. So the Vision. We have Creative House Pocket variant of Ancient one. I'm not buying any variants for that one. If I happen to get a 700 gold one at some point, great, but I'm not using gold on them, especially a card that I'm not going to play. Midnight Sun Scarlet Witch, Peach Momoko, Venom, Artgerm, Killmonger, Lemon Art, Snap Mockingbird, the magazine cover, Artgerm, X-23, Kim Jacinto, Spectrum. Still waiting. One card I need for that stupid Galactus bundle. I have it favorited because some people told me when you favorite when you favorite an album, some had said that they had kind of thought that maybe you would get him. And this is that I Am Ivan fan one that you get the Galactus. I'm one short, the Annihilus card. So I'm hoping that pops up in my shop, and it's taken forever. But I'm hoping that pops up in my shop and I can get that Galactus card. It's the only one I'm missing. The last one was the Disco's Not Dead. I did get all those because they're all 700 variants. And I got the Spider-Man and the Deadpool off the track. And, of course, the Dazzler emote. The new ones are Pandora's Box. Those are crazy, crazy expensive for those. So I will not be collecting those. Next one closest I'm to is Envar Illeavable. That's the Envar Studios variants. I'm missing Misery, Scorn, Elsa Bloodstone, and Cannonball. And then you get the Ultron out of that one. So that's the next closest one that I'm to. So that's a look at those. We'll go back to the shop here really quick. The rest are just avatars and stuff. I keep forgetting to check for avatars all the time. And I should because I want the Galactus ones, but I keep forgetting to check on those. I'm trying to get all the Galactus ones. I have a lot now, so I'm probably not missing that many. Then, of course, Conquest. Conquest this month has Arrow in there in the shop. A new Arrow card. That's by Nilsson Villela. The Arrow is pretty cool looking Arrow. And so far, I have all of them. Now, this coming week that comes out is 350 credits, 1 gold ticket, and a blue cosmic border. So I do enough to get the card every month in there, so I'm sure I will. I only need to get those 3 this, and then as you go, there's an Infinity ticket, new title, Vishanti number 4, Arrow boosters, and then week 5, there's a premium mystery variant, an Infinity ticket, and then that Arrow avatar. So, all right, and then we will take a look at, well, my shop just crashed. There you go. Crash number 1, as it tends to always do. It crashed again on me. So we'll have to wait for it to come up. I like the loading screen, the new Doctor Strange. I think I talked about this last week. Dormammu, of course, is in there. Scarlet Witch is also in there. But behind them all is a shadow. And I don't know if they did this on purpose. But now it looks like space and stuff like that. But if you look closely up at it, it looks as if it's forming eternity, the body of eternity, which is pretty cool. All right, so let's look at some of the decks that I've been playing now. Right now, as it stands, I am at 84, which is higher than I finished. I was at 83, so I am at 84, and so pretty happy with that. I'm at 84.0, so we'll see. Who knows? Maybe I can actually get to 90. We'll see, though. I'm in the slog now. That's the 80s, and you don't get many bots. All right. The ongoing one that I told you I played and I got to 80 with last night is Ant-Man, Goliath, Dazzler, Sam Wilson, regular Captain America, and Sam Wilson's cap. Speed, Ancient One is in here. Wiccan, Blue Marvel, Spectrum, Mockingbird, and Thanos. Now, like I said, Ancient One, she's okay, but I wouldn't necessarily say she's needed in this deck. Then there's Thanos Strange, and this is the one I told you that Nick the Greek Geek is playing. This is the tech deck. So now it's Strange Supreme, but now it contains Mercury Cannonball. So the Mercury Cannonball combo is now in here. Surge, Cosmo, Mobius, Copycat, Shang-Chi, Enchantress, Wiccan, Cannonball, Mockingbird, and Thanos. So again, this is the tech one that Strange Supreme is just gonna eat a lot of these cards, gonna take care of the stones and all that kind of stuff, and you're gonna have the Mercury Cannonball combo that you could win with. You have Mobius, which is good against negative and good against discard. Copycats are just going to get a card from the bottom of their deck that they're not going to have, which is info for you. Shang-Chi, Enchantress, good against other ongoing decks and stuff like that. And, of course, Thanos. And then with all the stones and stuff like that, you're just going to have that as well. So, again, Thanos is still out there, and it's still pretty good. 34-card Monty, in case you're wondering. The tournament deck is Surge, Valentina, Juggernaut, Shang-Chi, Galacta, Enchantress, Legion, Agamotto, Eliath, Mockingbird, Thanos, and Arishem. That is the tournament winning deck. The Galactus deck that I told you about, that Safety Blade made, Kitty Pryde, Jennifer Kale, Mercury, Surge, Merlin, Hope Summers, Luna Snow, Galacta, Cannonball, Hellion, Galactus, and Eliath. And I was able to get the Galactus off a good amount of time in this, so it's pretty good. And then you have the follow-up with Cannonball that you could do, the follow-up with Eliath that you could do to just win your games and stuff like that. So, yeah, this is fun if you want a fun way to try and play Galactus. I also played Sauron, your standard list, Zabu, Sauron. And I'm going to give myself a little bit of credit. I'm never much of a deck cooker. I'm not one that creates a ton of decks that already haven't been out there. But I got to tell you, I went ahead and I switched out when the nerf happened to Sauron. I switched out Ebony Maw on day one. Like first day, I was like, well, Ebony Maw doesn't make sense in here anymore, because if you get stuck with that and you don't have the Sauron and it's in your opening hand and stuff, you're screwed. So I took Ebony Maw and I put Cull in. Well, now that is the deck. Everybody has Cull Obsidian in the deck now. So that's kind of cool. I don't get credit for cooking many decks or lists or anything like that, or altering lists and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think I kind of, I've done it. I did it on day one, and now everybody's kind of playing it. So Surge is in here too, to give you the quicker cards and stuff like that. But it's Zabu, Sauron's, Zero, Surge, Surtur, Starbrand, Ares, Enchantress, Cull Obsidian, Typhoid Mary, Red Skull Scar. This still wins, and it just goes higher. It goes higher than a lot of other decks, and that's the big thing. You can beat the Thanos list with this because it just goes taller. And a lot of people, and you're not seeing Shang as much. Now, I told you that this got beat in a tournament. It got all the way up to, I think, the top 8. And then it got beat by a person playing Shang-Chi. But Shang-Chi, for whatever reason, comes and goes, and it's not in the come phase right now. It's not around as much. So you can kind of get away with this a little bit because, again, there's nothing here to protect any of my cards here. But Shang-Chi is not being played as much. So yeah. So, and it's a very easy deck to play as well. If you want just something kind of mindless that you don't need to necessarily have. I'm sorry. I wasn't playing the other ongoing Thanos list. That was Binks's list. I wasn't playing that one. The one I'm playing currently is this one. The Ant-Man, Goliath, Dazzler, Sam Wilson, but Gorgon is in this list. Cosmo, Mobius is in this list. So you have tech against discard. You have tech against negative. And Gorgon is just very good tech against the 34 card Monty. Any decks that are drawing a lot of cards. It's also great against the ones that are playing Merlin. And the ones that are playing Agamotto and all that, that are giving them all those extra cards because now their creative cards cost one more. So that's going to really slow down Merlin as well. Wiccan, Blue Marvel, Spectrum, Mockingbird, Thanos. So this is the one that I've been climbing with. And it's probably because of the Gorgon and Mobius that are in the deck as the tech. They're just both very, very good tech cards right now. And then, of course, Cerebro is popular. There's people playing versions of Cerebro 5. There's people playing versions of Cerebro 2. I'm telling you, no luck with that deck for me. When I play it, I get screwed over by locations, which mess it up. I get the very first game I tried playing C2, I got the one that gives you the monster, which screws the whole thing. I think there's just too many locations and things out there that can screw that deck. And that's why I don't trust it. I know people like it and people are probably winning with it as well. I know C2 is pretty consistent, but there are just so many things that can go wrong that can screw you in that. And what if you don't get your Cerebro? What if you don't get the Mystique? It's just, to me, there's just too much risk. And I'd rather play something a little more steady. Clog's getting played a lot, and Toxic is still out there as well. So, all right, let me look and see what new variants I got. I told you about the comic book Vision. I did get the Ultron, the Alex Ross, who I love. Alex Ross's paintings are tremendous. And the Alex Ross Ultron I did get from the web shop special. Got the New America Chavez. This is by Helen G. Any of these 700 ones come out, I get those usually most of the time on the collection track. I got a couple of variants for Victoria Hand. I didn't have any variants for her. Nicola Mezija variant of Victoria Hand. There's a new Ghost Rider, Mateus Manhanini did the art on that one. It's very cool. Nothing yet for the Ancient One. I got the Baron Mordo variant from the track, Winking Studios variant of him. I did pick up a new Martyr variant as well. I think this is a 700 one. Paul Renaud variant of Martyr. Cool looking variant. And then Penny Parker. I may have gotten this one last week because I was lose track, but Nicola Chesmazija variant of Penny Parker. The Thanos Sungun Yoon variant of Thanos, which is cool. Somebody said he's giving you the finger. It's kind of neat. It's kind of funny. Kind of looks like he is. But that led me to complete Thanos' mastery. So that's kind of cool. I now have him mastered. And then, of course, you get the emotes. So I have the Thanos emotes. Martina Mora variant of Viper. The Spider-Man Disco variant from the album. And then, of course, the other one's that She-Hulk, the Disco variant from the album. And Thaddeus Ross, I think I had from last week. So that's Zoltan Boros variant of Thaddeus Ross. Yeah. So that is the variants and all that stuff that I got from the shop for this week. So that is the what's in the shop. My alliance, of course, we got all the rewards as usual. I ended up finishing number 1. How about that? I was number 1 in my alliance for the very first time. I'd never done that before. Number one point contributor for once. I didn't make it this past week or the week prior, but I got it the week before, so that was kind of cool. I never finished number one, but the Alliance is cool. We're filled up again, and we are on our way to we're 1, 2, 3. Two of the credits and one green glyph border is your rewards for the end of week for the Alliance. So we're definitely going to have that with no problem. And there's a premium mystery variant for the end of week rewards for personal. So yeah. So the Alliance is chugging along as usual. All right, we are going to go to next up. We're going to hit up Comics Corner, and we're going to talk about the Ancient One. And then we're going to talk about a little bit about Jennifer Kale. We're not going to spend too much time on each one of these, so we'll give you a little bit of background in the characters, and we will then we'll go to the comic book to the Marvel Comics app, and we'll talk about them too. Now, this is the card. Obviously, is based on the MCU Ancient One. Okay, so that's what I'm going to talk to you about here. So the Ancient One, as it says here, Yao has embodied many names and titles over a centuries-long life, but one that stuck was the Ancient One, Sorcerer Supreme. So his name is Yao, and again, the Ancient One dates back to Doctor Strange comics I was reading in the 70s, and he's very old. He was always depicted as, if you would watch any, like if you're a fan of any karate / samurai films and stuff like that, and I never really was, my experience with that goes to Kung Pao Legend of the Fist, which is a great movie, by the way. Odenkirk does that. So funny. If you've never seen it, it's hilarious. But that's really where mine dates to. I never was a big fan of those samurai movies and stuff like that. I think I remember my father might have watched them at one time, but the character in the comics, you could tell was brought up from those legends, because the typical, long gray beard, the thin gray beard, and he was always in a temple, and he would always sit cross-legged and stuff like that. And, but that was Doctor Strange's mentor. Then he was the one who he found, and when he had the accident and stuff like that, and he made that long trek to where he was and things like that. And that whole kind of, that same type of story. And it's funny because, like Batman Begins, right? The Christian Bale movie, it's so similar to that, and the way that Batman finds Ra's al Ghul, very, very similar in storyline. You would almost think that they borrowed a little bit from that to do that film, from the way Doctor Strange got his powers, and how Batman treks up to that wintry, snowy mountain and stuff like that. You'd almost think that they borrowed a little bit from it. But in any case, the card in Snap is, of course, the Ancient One that is in the MCU. She is, much different. She's younger. She could be old, could be around for a long time, but she looks very different. She looks very much younger than the Ancient One in comics. But let's get to him, shall we? So universe, other aliases, place of origin, and all that kind of good stuff. So other aliases, Batsan Sa, the High Lama, the Master, the Mystic, and the Spirit Leopard. Prolonged study of sorcery, 15th century medical training is his education. Place of origin was Tibet, again in the comics. Existence unknown to present-day Earth. His identity, known relatives is Li Yung, his wife, who is deceased. Biography is born in 1430. Yao studies sorcery at Kamartaj along fellow villager Kalu. After Kalu seeks power and seizes control of Kamartaj, Yao dedicates his life to fighting evil sorcerers. He is the Ancient one of the most powerful sorcerers in existence, and trains Dr. Stephen Strange. Costume protector, born in the 1430s, Yao, the man later known as the Ancient One, acts as a spirit leopard costume protector of Lang Ka, the Tibetan village where he lives with his wife Lung Liung and works as an apprentice doctor. A year or two later, he relocates deep into the Himalayas to the village of Kamartaj, where he studies sorcery with fellow villager Kalu. Hoping to gain mystic power to better protect the region's people, unfortunately, Kalu seeks power for its own sake. Having earlier allied himself with the vampire Lord Varney, he seized control of Kamar-Taj in the early 1450s, hoping to build an empire. Opposing Kalu, Yao inadvertently creates a pestilence that wipes out Kamar-Taj. Kalu flees to the dimension of Ragador, and Yao, horrified by these events, dedicates his life to fighting evil sorcerers. The Ancient One is one of the most powerful sorcerers in existence. Like most, he draws his power from three primary sources: the invocation of powerful mystic entities and objects, the manipulation of the universe's ambient magical energy, and his own psychic resources. He's capable of astral projection, thought projection, and mental possession, with a range of power encompassing the entire earth. He can project and manipulate numerous forms of mystic energy to transform, animate, levitate, or otherwise alter physical objects. This is kind of why I think the card is a little... I don't think the card is good enough for what he's supposed to be. He's very, 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 very powerful. And I know they made Merlin very good, but kind of for me, they should have made this card Merlin. And not maybe necessarily with the same power, but I think he should have been the season pass. The Ancient One is like the father of all these sorcerers. And yes, Merlin is in the MCU, but he's not as popular or as known as the Ancient One was. So I would have probably switched these. I would have made Merlin different, and I would have made the Ancient One the season pass card, and I would have made sure to make him strong, because the Ancient One is the strongest one. He is. Now, maybe you could say Merlin is older and stuff like that, and as we went over the origin story, he was. But I would say that I would have had Agamotto be, or I would have had the Ancient One be the most powerful one. Possesses vast mystical knowledge as a result of several lifetimes worth of study and experience. Throughout most of his life, he was an exceptional athlete and martial artist, but in his extreme old age, he was unable to perform major physical or mystical feats without incurring great stress. While alive, he utilized various mystic artifacts, most now in Doctor Strange's possession. As a spirit leopard, he wears claw-like knives on his hands. Dark magic doers. The Ancient One often goes up against evil sorcerers, demons, and powerful beings that seek to harm Earth, including one of his most prominent foes, Dormammu, ruler of the Dark Dimension. Another foe, the demon Shumagoroth, attempts to enter Earth's dimension, but is stopped by the Ancient One, who sacrifices himself to prevent the demon's invasion. Shumagoroth was in the Doctor Strange movie, the second one. He's that big tentacled creature that comes into the film chasing after America Chavez. A couple of the Ancient One's disciples end up straying from his tutelage and turning to dark magic, including Mr. Jip, J.I.P., and Baron Carl Amadeus Mordo, a.k.a. Baron Mordo. Mordo ends up leaving the Ancient One to pursue more power, to slay him for choosing fellow student Doctor Strange to succeed him as Sorcerer Supreme. Again, this goes back to the very early Doctor Strange books from the 60s and 70s. And Baron, of course, this all happened in the film too. Mystical allies, the Ancient One allies himself with extra-dimensional rulers or lords of the netherworlds, as well as eternity. And I told about it. See, that's another card I would have had in this set. I would have done an eternity. He was in Thor: Love and Thunder. Like I said, he looks just like a being, but he looks like he has planets and stars and galaxies and everything inside of him. He's just kind of a big dark shadow. But he should have been in this, I think, too. Who gives him the Eye of Agamotto, a mystical amulet. When the Ancient One's body dies, his spirit merges with eternity, and he continues to exist in astral form. All right, and for his history, so soon after, Yao, now simply known as the Mystic, took another young man, later known as Mr. Jip, as a disciple, but subsequently banished him for practicing dark rituals. Boy, he gets surrounded by bad people, huh? Discouraged by this incident, the Mystic set out and travels in Asia, where he clashed with the demon Zorak in Korea. It is not known how long the Mystic's travels lasted or where else they took him, but he eventually joined an ancient order of benevolent sorcerers whose most accomplished members were known as the Ancient Ones. He continued his studies there and eventually exceeded the magical skills of his fellows. By 1666, over 200 years old, but with his aging process greatly slowed by magic, he has risen to the status of Sorcerer Supreme, protector of the Earth's dimension, and he has discovered an incursion by Dormammu, ruler of the Dark Dimension, seeking to add Earth to his domain. Dormammu was forced back by the Mystic at the British site of Stonehenge. Dormammu never forgave the defeat and became a sworn enemy of the mystic, clashing with him several times over the centuries, at one point casting a weakening spell upon him, which periodically affected him until shortly before his death. Soon after earning his Sorcerer Supreme title, the mystic accepted as a servant a descendant of the Chinese monk and warrior Kan, whose family had been dedicated to service to the Sorcerer Supreme since the 10th century. Subsequent descendants assumed this role throughout the mystic's life. At some point, he banished the demon race of Daikors to the realm unknown, leaving even the likes of Dormammu to believe them destroyed, and allied himself with some of the extra-dimensional rulers known as the Lords of the Netherworlds, whose domains he protected from Dormammu. At some point, he met with Eternity, embodiment of the universe's life force, who presented him with the Eye of Agamotto, one of the three mystic amulets originally wielded by Agamotto of the Vishanti, the vastly powerful entity who had acted as the Earth's dimension's first Sorcerer Supreme. Although Eternity came into being billions of years before the Earth itself, the mystic was apparently the first human in Earth's history to directly encounter him, a measure of the mystic's power and talent. Soon after acquiring the Eye, the mystic used it to defeat the Harvester of Eyes cult, which was dedicated to killing Agamotto's followers. In the course of his duties, the mystic sometimes traveled to other dimensions and eras, occasionally spending centuries in such locales before returning to his native place and time mere moments after he had left it. During one such 19th century excursion, he traveled to Babylonia circa 4000 BC to obtain the powerful mystic tome known as the Book of the Vishanti. Another trip took him back many millennia further, well before recorded history, where he fought and banished chaotic sorceress Morwen. Then it goes up to the 1680s, 1939, 1943. Mordo, talk about sacrificing his own mother and grandmother to Dormammu. Wow, he's a bad dude. And the Ancient One, fearing that Mordo's power rivaled his own, realized the need for a successor is greater than ever. A feigning ignorance of Mordo's true evil, he allowed him to remain his disciple, and both men continued to observe Stephen Strange's life. However, the Ancient One's concern over Mordo did not blind him to other threats, and in 1944 he aided another soldier, Nick Fury, and costumed hero Steve Rogers, Captain America, against their Nazi enemies, Johann Schmidt, the Red Skull, who had formed a brief alliance with Dormammu. Then it kind of goes over the rise of the High Llama and Dr. Druid, who another Marvel character we haven't seen yet. And then you go later in the 60s, the Ancient One was last visited by Stephen Strange, who had become a surgeon, and who his career ruined by nerve damage and his own arrogance now sought treatment for his ailing hands, unaware of the true destiny he had come to meet. Well aware that Strange was destined to be the Ancient One's successor, Mordo stepped up plans to destroy his mentor before Strange could become his student. Strange learned of Mordo's treachery and ironically resolved to learn sorcery in order to defeat him. The Ancient One, who had known of Mordo's intentions all along, accepted Strange as a disciple in the tradition of both the Sorcerer Supreme and his ancient order of sorcerers, accepting his mentor's wish to keep Mordo in check. Strange studied alongside Mordo for years before the latter departed to pursue greater power in Transylvania. Strange himself eventually returned to the USA, and like Druid before him, embarked on a career of consultation and heroism. Ancient One continued to advise Strange as necessary, although he was near invalid by that time. Tended by the last of his servants, Hamir, he occasionally aided his successor against Mordo, Dormammu, and other threats, including his one-time ally, Kalu. Let's see here. When Earth faced an invasion by the interdimensional Empirical army and destroyed almost all magic, Dr. Strange and his allies attempted to recover any and all artifacts in the world that still contained magic. The Ancient One's skull was one such artifact, after, of course, he died, and it was found in a Tibetan temple. Dr. Strange ground it up into a dust and used it to blind the Imperator, the Empirical's leader. So by becoming one with the cosmos when the universe is in deadly danger, the Ancient One returns to help Strange fight a terrible menace, but not by choice. Upon meeting Dr. Strange in corporeal form, he regaled his tale of being pulled from the astral plane and his knowledge of magic forcibly extracted from an unknown user well schooled in the mystic arts. Strange found this mystery sorcerer, and it turned out to be the dread Dormammu. Strange then retaught his former teacher the way he once bestowed knowledge upon him. After regaining his knowledge, the Ancient One helped defeat Dormammu. The Ancient One then invited Strange's librarian, Zelma Stanton, to create a library from his mystical knowledge so that it couldn't be lost or stolen again. Not long following this encounter, the Ancient One lent his renewed knowledge to Strange's Strange Academy, where he taught magically inclined students. in the class dubbed The History of Mystical Objects. So there you go. A long history for him. Now we're going to go to, of course, Tilda Swinton plays him in Doctor Strange and has played him in the MCU since, or played her, which, like I said, they changed it for the film. Now, his first appearance, Marvel Comics number Strange Tales 110 from July 1963. Created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, the OGs, the GOATs. Team affiliations, the Ancient One Strange Academy, partnership with Doctor Strange. Notable aliases, the Master, the High Llama, the Mystic, the Spirit Leopard. And his abilities, vast magical powers, energy blast, teleportation, illusion generation, and astral projection. So created, first appeared in Strange Tales 110. And that, of course, is Doctor Strange books. The character has appeared in some Marvel Comics graphic novels. Doctor Strange Season 1, done by Greg Pak and illustrated by Emma Rios. Doctor Strange Marvel Masterworks Volume 1 and Doctor Strange from the Marvel Vault. Powers and abilities, we talked about those. And let's see if he was in Heroes Reborn. An alternate variant appears in the graphic novel Doctor Strange Season 1. Of course, in television, the Ancient One makes a non-speaking appearance in a flashback in the Spider-Man episode Doctor Strange. The Ancient One appears in Doctor Strange 1978. That's the TV show one. That's the one where he had very curly, very, very curly hair. It definitely looked like a 70s guy. Very strange, had very curly hair and a big mustache and stuff. It was very campy. But he appeared in that, voiced by Michael and Sarah. And the Ancient One appears in Doctor Strange the Sorcerer Supreme, voiced by Michael Yama. And in the MCU, of course, appears in media set in the MCU, portrayed by Tilda Swinton. The version is depicted as an androgynous Celt to reflect the mystery of the character. Following her first appearance in live-action film Doctor Strange 2016, alternate timeline variants appear in the live-action film The Avengers Endgame and the Disney Plus animated series What If? Episode What If Doctor Strange Lost His Heart Instead of His Hands. Video game appearances, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, voiced by James C. Appears a playable character in Marvel Future Fight. Additionally, the MCU incarnation appears in Unlockable Skin. Ancient One appears as a playable character in Marvel Super War as well. So, there you go. Dates all the way back goes all the way back to the OGs, man. I love when it goes back. And I was reading Strange Tales way back in that time. So, all right, we're going to go to Jennifer Kale really quickly. Jennifer Kale is a character appearing in Marvel Comics. Of course, her first appearance was Adventure into Fear number 11, coming from 1972. Created by Steve Gerber and Rich Buckler. She is, of course, human. Legions of Night, The Command, The Midnight Suns and Witches. Partnerships, Dakeem the Enchanter, Howard the Duck, Man-Thing, and this is how I first read about her and knew who she was, and Korek. Her notable alias is Witch Woman and abilities Magic Mastery. Character appearing in Marvel Comics, created by Steve Gerber and Rich Buckler. Adventure into Fear in 1972. Jennifer Kale is Johnny Blaze, Ghost Rider's cousin, and a sorceress who is part of the cult of Zarhed-Na. She has also been a member of the Legion of Night and the Midnight Suns at various points in her history. Character made her live-action debut in the Marvel Cinematic Universe miniseries Agatha All Along, portrayed by Sashir Zamata. Of course, she survived at the end of that too, which is cool. I want to see her team up with Man-Thing. We got to get Man-Thing back, man. Like, I had heard that there were rumors they were going to use him. Maybe he's going to be in Secret War. I got to see him again, man. I loved Werewolf by Night. He has to be in it again. Jennifer was born in the Kale family of sorcerers in the Florida Everglades. Attuned to mystical forces since birth, she began studying her family's history of magic. Became an apprentice of Dakeem the Enchanter, and the two of them acted as allies of the Man-Thing, creature that protected the nexus of all realities centered in the Everglades. Jennifer has been advised by her grandfather, Joshua, even after his death, who had been a mystical cult leader when alive. His spirit continued after she left her training with Dakim and attempted to live a normal life as a college student. Regardless of her efforts at normalcy for many years, she has been drawn into numerous magical conflicts. Examples include her kidnapping by Baron Mordo, discovering a familial connection to Ghost Rider, and other adventurers assisting the mutant team known as X-Force. Jennifer Kale was recruited by Doctor Strange alongside fellow musicians Topaz and Satana to form the group known as the Witches, hoping to keep the world safe from mystical threats and stop would-be thieves from stealing her family book. The team was short-lived, and Kale next appeared with Wudar, the Aquarian, and Siege as a member of Florida's 50-state initiative team in an encounter with zombies from Marvel Zombies universe and a Skrull invasion. After the initiative, Jennifer appears as part of the new Midnight Suns team, once again fighting the Marvel Zombies. She was in Dark Reign. She's in Heroic Age, tried to stop the Thunderbolts from using the Man-Thing as their transportation, recalling him to the swamp to fight an invasion from the nexus of all realities. Eventually, she realized that the Man-Thing was willingly working with the Thunderbolts and that she would simply need to alert him anytime someone broke through. Jennifer is apparently killed by Victoria Hand, who at the time is possessed by Daniel Drum. Drum wanted to eliminate all users of dark magic before enacting his revenge on Doctor Strange and the New Avengers. Uses dark magic to return to life, but at the cost of having no skin. Ooh, okay. Was found on Weird World during an incident that destroyed the normal flow of time, a common occurrence on Weird World. She had a romance with Deadpool. Tremendous potential for wielding magic. Can teleport herself and others, and numerous other spells. She lived and taught there until she was slain by the demon Despair. Despair is in Man-Thing books too. Atlantis met its fate the same day. Two spirits rescued the wisdom of Zarhadna, and decades later gave to Ilania Kale. Then the descendant of a cult member, Kale was inspired to then write to a tome. Comicbook.com called Jennifer Kale one of Marvel's most popular horror characters. Yes, the books that she was in. So those books from the 1972 and stuff like that were mostly horror books, along with Man-Thing. So I can see that. Bradley Prum of Screen Rant asserted she was initially introduced as a supporting character to Man-Thing, but she developed to be a hero of her own right. Deidre Kay of A Scary Mommy called Jennifer Kale a role model and a truly heroic female character. Eric Diaz of Nerdist included Jennifer in their Marvel Witches We Want to See in Agatha Darkhold Diaries list. And Sports Kita ranked Jennifer Kale 5th in their 10 strongest Marvel witches list. She was in What If? What if the X-Men lost Inferno? In a final remaining among Earth's mystics and superheroes that were not turned into demons after the loss of Inferno convene at the Reserve Bank of New York, She-Hulk interrupts their mystic circle, and Sims demon horde led by the demonically possessed Incredible Hulk and Wolverine immediately bursts in. The Hulk smashes Kale's skull, and most of the others are also killed. That's rude. She was in Marvel Max, in Weird World, and in television, she was in the Disney Plus, of course, series Agatha All Along. This version is a witch specializing in potions who, after suffering a magical block, cannot use her powers. She's also a beauty guru, social media influencer, and owner of Kale Care, a cosmetics establishment which has been involved in multiple lawsuits for damage to health. Kale had her powers bound by Agatha, though she believed the doctor was to blame. A doctor was to blame. Over a century earlier in 2026, Kale was approached by Harkness to join her coven to walk the witch's road, hoping to regain her powers. She accepted. And during a series of harrowing trials, Kale soon learned the mysterious teenager accompanying them was Billy Maximoff. As they approached the end of the road, Kale was left as one of the only survivors. In the last trial, she learned that it was Harkness who bound her. Infuriated, she freed herself by renouncing her and thus regaining her powers. Exiting the road and emerging in Westview, Kale flew away. So she's still around. So there's still hope that she could find Man-Thing at some point. So there you go. That's some quick stuff on Jennifer Kale. We're going to head over to Marvel Unlimited Shop. And we are going to look both of these characters up. And, of course, we'll start with Jennifer. She should be quicker to look up. And then we'll go to the Ancient One. So it comes up under the Witches of Marvel Universe when you look it up. And there are a good amount of comics. She's in some Daredevil stuff. Avengers Assemble, Venom War, Sensational She-Hulk, some What If stuff. Witches, of course, that makes sense. I'm surprised I'm not seeing any Man-Thing. We got some She-Hulk. Avenging Spider-Man, Earth X. Lots of stuff. So Marvel team-ups, Incredible Hulk. Heroes for Hire. So yeah, she's been in a lot of books, but I'm surprised. Well, I'm still going down the list. Fear Itself. Here we go. Man-Thing, 1979, number 19. Adventure into Fear, number 11. Adventure into Fear, number 18. So they're the origin stuff. Are the original Man-Thing books. I would tell anybody, if you're a horror comic fan, go back and read some of the old Man-Thing stuff, and you can get these all on the Marvel Unlimited app. But they're worth a read if you enjoy comics like that. Again, they were started as horror characters, and the books definitely were that. The old Man-Thing books definitely were horror books. So if you want to read about Jennifer's origin, go back and check out Man-Thing. It's a great comic. I love them, and I have the Masterworks. I often go back and read them. The Ancient One is in here. The details for him say, born in the 1430s, Yao studied sorcery at Kamartaj alongside fellow villager Kalu. After Kalu sought power and seized control of Kamartaj, Yao dedicated his life to fighting evil sorcerers. He is the Ancient One of the most powerful sorcerers in existence, and Doctor Strange's first teacher. And he's in a ton. Marvel team up, Doctor Strange, of course, Doctor Strange, mostly magic, Azazel. He's in a ton of stuff. The list goes on and on. Fantastic Four. But if you want to read about his origin and all that kind of stuff, it's going to go back to Strange Tales and Doctor Strange, all the way back to the early 60s. And you can get those all in the Marvel Unlimited app, which I am in right now. Quick look at books of the week that I have. Avengers Academy, number 46. Spider-Man Infinity Comic, number 31. The Immortal Thor is up to 21. Storm is up to issue 6. Scarlet Witch is up to issue 10. Spectacular Spider-Man, issue 13. Fantastic Four Into the Depths Infinity Comic is up to issue 3. Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu is out, is into issue 6. Wolverine 2024 is into issue number 7. NYX is up to issue number 9. The Ultimates is up to issue 10. Herbie has an Infinity comic out, issue number 1. So Herbie's got his own comic. And Marvel Meow. It was kind of a light week in books this week. So check out that. And like I said, always go and support your local comic book shop if you can, if you have one. And check out all the comics there. And if you want to read about the Ancient One and Jennifer Kale, my best bets would be, like I said, check out some early Doctor Strange books. You will never get those cheaply. So you're going to have to find those in graphic novels and reprints and stuff like that. And also collections. And check out the early Man-Thing books as well if you want to read about her. So, all right, that is going to do it for that. And we are coming up to the end. We're going to get into the MCU minute really quickly here. And let me first start by saying, and I talk about a lot about Marvel and stuff mostly, but I was able to procure a early screening ticket to see Superman. So the tickets went on sale yesterday. They broke a lot of websites, so that's going to be popular as well as Fantastic Four, which also broke a lot of ticket sites yesterday. But I got an early screening. I've never done an early screening or seen an early screening that came out before the general public. So I did get a ticket to see Superman. So I'll be going on the 7th, which is the day before it releases to the public, which is very cool. So I'll be seeing that. And they showed the final trailer for that yesterday. It looks really good. And I think it's going to be very enjoyable. You can see some of the humor that James Gunn brings to it and stuff like that. But I think it's going to be, very, very good film. And I'm looking forward to it. July is going to be a great month for comic books and comic book movies and stuff like that. Along, of course, with Snap being the Fantastic Four month as well. So it's going to be a fun month. And I would tell you to go see both if you're a comic book fan like me. Marvel reportedly, this is from Comic Book News, reportedly developing a Hercules project for the MCU. A new rumor from Daniel Rickman, who's pretty good with this stuff, claims that Marvel is developing a Hercules project. Not clear if it'll be Disney Plus, special presentation, or theatrical release. Brett Goldstein, Showed up briefly at the end of Love and Thunder, played by Emmy-winning actor Brett Goldstein from Ted Lasso, who was, of course, the gruff player that ended up becoming the coach at the end of the series. The character was introduced as the son of Zeus, played by Russell Crowe, and was tasked with hunting down Thor after their battle damaged Zeus's reputation. Goldstein has confirmed that Marvel contacted him unexpectedly for the role and gave him only 2 weeks to get in shape. When I spoke to director Taika Waititi, I said, I'm basically like a skinny comedian. Goldstein told the Playlist after Love and Thunder was released, I said, when is this filming? It was like in 2 weeks, and I was like, I'll do my best, but 2 weeks feels, he doesn't have to be as big as Thor, does he? His appearance was short, but clearly intended to tease something more. And this latest rumor seems to confirm that Marvel has further plans. Similar to Love and Thunder, the fan response wasn't overwhelmingly positive to Goldstein as Thor, or Hercules rather, but per his words, maybe if he buffs up, it could change fans' minds. This could also be an issue as Marvel Comics has changed Hercules into being bisexual. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll see if they keep the casting the same or if they choose to cast someone else for the role. Midnight Suns rumor, this is from Superhero Hype, reveals new MCU character will lead the group. Has chosen the fan favorite character who will be leading its long rumored Midnight Suns movie. This comes after it was previously reported that development on the project is moving again. Oh, that's awesome, because Man-Thing is in this, supposedly, after it's temporarily halted. Despite the popular fan theory that Blade will be the leader, Blade is, I think, done. I think that's toast. Rickman claimed that Marvel Studios reportedly has big plans for Ghost Rider's MCU debut, making him the supernatural superheroes team official leader. The character was originally played by Oscar winner Nicolas Cage in Sony Pictures' Ghost Rider movies, as at the moment the project has no cast, director, or release date. Ryan Gosling has expressed desire to join the MCU, revealing that playing Ghost Rider was his dream role. Because of this, he became one of the popular fan castings. Norman Reedus was talked about, so was Keanu Reeves as well in Ghost Rider's role. Project based on the comic series created by Howard McKee, Andy Kubert, and Bobby Chase in 1993. Centered around a team of supernatural heroes consisting of Ghost Rider, Blade, Moon Knight, Elsa Bloodstone, Doctor Strange, and more. Man-Thing was in it. Since the MCU started its saga, they've begun exploring the horror genre with the Disney release of Moon Knight, Werewolf by Night, and Agatha all along. However, the studio hasn't really made any official announcements regarding plans. So I hope that's going to be true. This comes from Screen Rant. This is Charlie Cox addressing the MCU being unable to use Daredevil and Kevin Feige asking him to return. Though Charlie Cox is back in the MCU as Daredevil, the British star opens up about how his character was initially not allowed to appear in the rest of the franchise. While Matt Murdock has been one of the most beloved heroes in the MCU timeline, there was still a period of time where the Marvel Netflix shows, including Daredevil series, were not considered fully canon to the franchise. Cox returning in 2021 Spider-Man No Way Home was the beginning of audiences getting to finally see Netflix properties become tied to the rest of the MCU. This is from Charlie Cox. I was absolutely shocked. It was the middle of COVID. I was in the garden and my phone rang. I hadn't heard from anyone from Marvel for 2 years. Last phone call I'd had was, "We're sorry, but the show's been canceled." And then Kevin Feige calls. He wasn't involved with the original show because it was Marvel Television, which was a different studio at the time. I had met Kevin, had a 2-minute conversation with him when he came to see a play I was in, but we didn't talk about Daredevil. I didn't know there was an embargo on how 2 years had to pass before they could contact me about it. So it was like, do you want to come back and do some more Daredevil stuff? I was absolutely blown away. I couldn't believe it. And then I didn't hear anything for 3 months, so I started to question whether I dreamed that. So it tells you how he was kind of brought back. And you can hear, like, some of this stuff had embargo things going on and everything like that, and stuff like that too. So yeah, Midnight Sun's back in development. That's talked about a couple times. The Ironheart has another trailer. Let's see. In fact, an exclusive here for her. She has not heard of any discussion from Marvel Studios regarding a potential season 2. So a lot of people are afraid of this a little bit, saying that it's going to be kind of but I don't know. I'm excited about it. The trailer I thought looked pretty good, and look, the hood is in it, and of course where the hood is concerned, and any kind of time they bring up any kind of a demon character, they always talk about Mephisto. My God, Mephisto is in this, Mephisto is in that, but I mean, I guess it would kind of make sense that maybe he would be in this since the demon is in it. So yeah, All right, so that is going to do it. Kind of a light week in Marvel news. Usually there's a lot more going on, but as we get closer to Fantastic Four and all that kind of stuff, I'm sure it's going to ramp up. And I do have my tickets for Fantastic Four. I'm going on opening day. I've worked on the popcorn bucket thing, and it does appear that I will be getting a Galactus popcorn bucket of my very own. So that's awesome. There's a Superman one, so cute. It's the crypto with the dog dish. These popcorn buckets are just getting out of control. But I've spent my quota on the Galactus one. In any case, that is it for me for this week. Sorry about it being late. And again, I will have guests again on Monday. Check out Glazer's Pod, of course, Snap Judgments. I will be on that, which is going to be a lot of fun. Listen, it was a fun week in Snap. The cards are fun. Merlin was fun. The other combos that came out of it, I'm kind of glad the Cannonball one didn't become obnoxious, because I was thinking, oh boy. And there are people playing it, but it's not crazy. So, the new web shop we had. So we had a lot of good things, I think, that happened in Snap this week, including me getting to 84 quite early. So we'll see. Maybe I could make a run at this. But I don't know. The 80s are still a massive slog. You don't get bots and stuff like that. So we'll see. But yeah, other than that, it's been a fun week. I hope you guys are getting enjoyment from the game, however you're choosing to play it. I also heard news, speaking of games, and I'm a gamer as well. I'm also along with Marvel and DC and comics, I'm a big Friday the 13th fan. Now, we have a Friday the 13th coming tomorrow, and I'm excited for a few reasons. One, the Crystal Lake series that they've been talking about forever, that's coming on Peacock, is being worked on. They're filming it. So I'm hoping that there's a teaser or something legit that I could actually see Jason on a screen again, because it's been far too long with all this lawsuit business. But also, I was a big fan of the game. I loved the Friday the 13th game. I played it all the time. Never been killed as Jason. I backed the game. I was one of the original backers. My name is on the credits. I had a special Jason called Savini Jason that not everybody got in the game, and I loved it. I thought it was one of the most fun games I'd ever played. And the game the game kind of died at the end of last year because they lost the rights to it. The company did, Gun Media, lost the rights to it because of this lawsuit that went on and everything like that. Well, apparently they might be bringing it back, and I would be absolutely over the moon if they did, because they just left off where they're going to start including the Jason X stuff, which is the outer space one and everything like that, which would have been so much fun. Also the New York one. But Kane Hodder, who played Jason in several of the films, he's a stuntman as well. He had done mocap work for the game, especially doing the kills and stuff like that with Gun Media. And then he worked on Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the game, with Gun Media. Now, I didn't like that one. That one reminded me more of Dead by Daylight. And Dead by Daylight's okay, and I heard Jason's coming to that too. But it's a little, I don't know, it's very repetitive. And it's also like, I don't know, it's a little boring because people camp like all this stuff that like the killers just camp it, wait for you to do the repairs on this stuff, and then you just kill it. I don't know. I was never a favorite horror game of mine. But there are rumors that came out yesterday, and there have been rumors because there's this new thing called the Jason Universe that they started, which is kind of just incorporating his name and stuff like that. And they have new artwork for him and stuff. And he was in the Looney Tunes game, which was really weird. But I have a funny feeling because Kane Hodder came out and said he was working on another game with Gun Media and Ilphonic. They are the people that made the Friday the 13th game. And Gun Media just shut down their Texas Chainsaw game out of nowhere. Just came out of nowhere to fans of it. And they were like, yep, we're done. We're not doing any more with this game. Why would all this be happening? And then Kane comes out last night and says this the day before Friday the 13th. So I have a funny feeling that they are going to now resume or maybe make like a Friday the 13th part 2. Or maybe they're gonna remake the game with better I don't know. There's also another game called Summer Camp that's coming out that's basically stealing from that Friday the 13th game. So it's basically going to be it without the Jason stuff. because they can't use him, of course, and things like that. So that's coming too. So at least there's that. That I know is coming because that's being kickstarted and stuff. But I'm super excited about Friday the 13th being tomorrow. Usually all my friends wish me happy birthday every Friday the 13th because I've been such a big Jason fan over the years. But I am excited to see. I hope that gets announced. Hey, if Gunn and Ilphonic coming back out with that, oh my God, I'll be playing it all the time. That's one of my favorite games ever. So anyway, completely not Snap, but I had a good week. And I'm sure my week's going to continue with Friday the 13th being tomorrow. So guys, however you choose to play the game, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have a great week in Marvel Snap. Enjoy the new card if you decided to get it. If not, I don't blame you. But next week should be a lot of fun with Nightmare, especially for those of us that play Surtur decks. But have a great week in Snap. Please stay safe. Be kind to one another always. And check out Glazer's Pod. I'll be on that. And hopefully I will talk to you all on the next episode of Snap Decisions. This is your Snap DJ signing off.